I'm going to talk about the journey to becoming a Christian for the first time, because it's a lot harder and a lot better than you think it's going to be. Hey guys, so my name's Alex Morris. I live in Sydney, Australia. This is my first video in a long time on this topic. In fact, it's my first video ever on this topic because I would not have been able to talk about becoming a Christian, up until about 3 months ago. Because for the last 30 years, I have been avoiding and actively resisting Christianity. Now, like a lot of people, I grew up going to Sunday school in England, where you kind of learn about Bible stories. It's part of that Western culture. You do the nativity plays. But as I got into, year 5, year 6, being 11, 12 years old, it was never a part of my life. And then from then on, as I got into high school, I got into rock bands, I got into being punk and skateboarding, metal. I was starting to actively resist it. And when we moved to Australia in 2003, and my sister started hanging out with people who went to youth group and becoming a Christian in her teens, I went as far against it as I possibly could. And I remember not only doing things like making fun of Christians on YouTube videos and kind of triggering and trolling people, but also just doing as much as I could to piss off the Christian community. Whether it was how I dressed, the lyrics in our rock band, we used to have flyers for our band gigs of Jesus being crucified, that sort of thing. We used to really go hard. And up until my early 30s, up until last year, I've been doing nothing but resisting and actively mocking Christianity. Now, what happened? Because 3 months later, 4 months after my first real exposure to it, I find myself sitting here wanting to share this story with you, to help you to follow a similar journey. So what has happened, and what's it like to become a Christian in 2025? Because what happened with me when I first started getting into Christianity and opening my heart to God and to Jesus was that I resisted it. I resisted it because I thought, this is not me. I'm too smart for this. I'm too clever for this. I know better than this. What is happening? But the phrase is that Jesus keeps on knocking. He keeps on knocking on that door, and eventually you open up that door and you let him in. And the way it happened for me, I did find it very challenging, because I had this vibe, this idea that once I started following God, once I started reading the Bible, praying, I would feel this relief. I would feel different in my daily life, but I didn't feel different. I found it a struggle every day to try and read the Bible. I found it a struggle to get up and pray. I found it unnatural and difficult to try and talk to God. I found it really challenging to go to church for the first time. And I found it especially challenging to almost come out to my family that I'd become a Christian, even to my wife that I was discussing and thinking about this. And that difficulty was really hard for me, because I assumed that becoming a Christian would make everything feel good. I assumed that I would feel happy. And the analogy I would use was that I was covering my house in Christmas decorations. I was putting on the Michael Bublé songs, but I wasn't feeling Christmassy. You know the vibe you get around Christmas time? I wasn't getting it. And even though I was doing all the stuff, I wasn't feeling the vibe. And this made Christianity really difficult for me for the first few months. And something switched around January, when I started going to church just a couple of times. And I realized that this isn't meant to be easy. I realized that this is a change in your life that isn't meant to be easy. It's not meant to be perfect straight away. But I heard a quote from a book called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. And I'm going to butcher the quote, so I'll put it up on the screen. But essentially it's saying that if you love someone, if you truly love someone, you will act as you love that person. And if you want to learn to love someone, acting as if you love them will help you to do it. And so I followed that mentality. I followed that mentality of thinking, if I want to learn to love Jesus, what would I do? If I want to learn to follow and love God, what would I do? And I would do this. I would pray. I would read my Bible. I would do my best to avoid doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing. Stealing, watching videos I shouldn't be watching on the internet, things I can't talk about here on YouTube, lying. Make a real effort to be as honest as possible in every situation. Things that are really challenging on the front end, things that are really challenging day to day, especially if you've fallen into this self-centered reality that most of us have these days, where we are the most important thing. Us and our family are in control of everything. However, if I truly wanted to learn to love God, love Jesus, I would do the things I should be doing as if I loved him. So this is what I started to do. And it's difficult every single day. It is a challenge to read my Bible before bed when I want to be scrolling on my phone. It is a challenge to be trying to pray and find time in a busy day to give time to God. It is a challenge to tell the truth in every situation. It is a challenge to not bitch about people. It's a challenge to do most of these things. But it's also hard going to the gym. It's also hard going to work when it'd be easier to just watch YouTube. And it's really difficult every day. Making this video is pretty difficult, but I've been feeling called to do this. I've been feeling called to make videos about my journey, to help other people out there figure out what it's going to be like if you explore Christianity. And the beautiful thing I'm seeing, before I go, I'll leave you with this. The beautiful thing I'm seeing is that every week I am seeing new people, whether it's celebrities or friends, turning to Jesus. So this week, I'd love you to just pay attention. If you're thinking of becoming a Christian, if Jesus is knocking on your door, if you come across this video for a reason, because now I believe that you probably did, right? Or maybe it's just the algorithm, who knows? I'd love you to think about what it is that's knocking, why he's knocking. What have you been doing? What have you been thinking about that's getting God to work on your heart this week? Why did you come across this video? Why did you watch it? And if you're becoming a Christian, thinking about it in 2025, comment below, let me know. Let's talk about it. I'd love to help you. Have a great day, guys. Much love. God bless.